There are 11 new community cases to report today. All are in the Auckland region. This takes our total number associated with this outbreak to 879, and of those, 288 cases have now recovered. Additionally, today there are 6 new cases in recent returnees in our managed isolation facilities, and 2 historical cases have also been identified at the border. The total number of as yet unlinked cases is 29, noting that 6 of these are from today's new cases. Analysis of yesterday's 13 cases show all are contacts of other cases, and 12 of those are household contacts. We also know just 1 case was infectious in the community, which is encouraging. There are 27 people in hospital today. All are in the Auckland region, and of these, 4 are in intensive care and all 4 requiring ventilation at the moment. Our thoughts remain with anyone who's in hospital and their whānau at this time. On testing, yesterday there were 14,181 swabs processed across the country and 7,974 swabs taken across Metro Auckland. This continues to be giving us confidence about the outbreak and whether or not it is controlled. And one thing I would like to emphasise is this weekend is critical that we get high testing numbers. So anyone who is symptomatic, particularly in Tāmaki Makaurau, please do go and get a test. To everyone who has been tested, thank you for your commitment. And an update on Middlemore Hospital. The Covid-19 positive case we reported last evening, who went to Middlemore Hospital for treatment, is in isolation and has been transferred to a quarantine facility today. Auckland Regional Public Health will today interview the case to determine if there are any known links to cases or exposure events. This is one of that small handful of cases that we're particularly concerned about finding what the link is to the existing outbreak. All the staff in the ED and the short stay ward where the person received care were wearing appropriate PPE, including N95 masks and eye protection, and no staff have been stood down. There were 30 other patients in the ED and short stay ward who have been assessed as being contacts. Of those, 17 are in the hospital and are isolated from other patients. The remainder had already been discharged but have been contacted and are isolating at home with support and oversight from Auckland Regional Public Health. And finally, it's great to see excellent use of the NZ COVID Tracer app. On Wednesday this past week, we had more than 1 million New Zealanders either scan in with the app or make a diary entry. It's the highest number in any 24-hour period to date. Our latest figures show that there were over 2.5 million scans on yesterday, beating our previous daily record. And there were over 100,000 manual entries.
As I said, I just want to make a few comments around economic issues. Firstly, you would have seen the announcement this morning from Minister Hipkins and Minister O'Connor that one-way quarantine-free travel for RSE workers will begin in October. This is an important milestone for our horticulture industry, that they know that they can get the staff that they need for the upcoming picking season. I want to thank the industry for the collaborative approach over recent months to help make this happen. To minimise risk, there are additional health measures being put in place to protect these workers and their communities. The RSE scheme does have important benefits for New Zealand, Pacific partner countries, workers and their families and communities, and so we are pleased that this is able to go ahead. From the beginning of this pandemic, the government has adapted and increased the support it provides to businesses, workers and communities. We listen to the concerns raised by affected businesses and we adapt our assistance. The second payment of the wage subsidy scheme remains open nationally to businesses. Eligibility is not determined by the alert level for the area that the business is in, but rather that so long as the drop in revenue is caused by the rest of New Zealand being an alert level 3 for a time or the higher alert level in Auckland. And a reminder, if Auckland stays at either alert level 4 or alert level 3 after Cabinet's decision on Monday, that will trigger a third fortnight of wage subsidy payments for eligible businesses. As of this morning, 404,688 applications for the wage subsidy scheme have been approved in this round, totalling almost $1.7 billion in payments. Combined with the resurgent support payments, that has seen more than $2.2 billion paid to New Zealand businesses. We do know that extended periods of alert level restrictions puts pressures on firms' ability to to meet their fixed non-wage costs. And we have taken advice from businesses and worked with the likes of the Auckland Chamber of Commerce and other business organisations as to how to respond to this. With that in mind, we have decided to open a second round of the Resurgent Support Payment. This is a new payment, as the Resurgent Support Payment was originally seen as a one-off initiative, but it is clear that as heightened alert level restrictions are in place for longer, it does put more pressure on businesses. Applications for this new round will begin next Friday, the 17th, and will be available until 1 month after a nationwide return to Alert Level 1, just as for the first payment. In order to qualify for the new payment, firms must experience at least a 30% decline in revenue over 7 days as a result of the current alert levels, as well as the existing eligibility criteria. In this case, the new payment, that 7-day window, is from September the 8th. The payment remains the same, which is a core per business rate of $1,500 plus $400 per employee up to 50 FTEs, which works out as a maximum payment of $21,500. We estimate that this new payment will cost about $430 million, depending, of course, on uptake. Ministers have further agreed that there will be 2 more payments after that, 3 weeks apart, so long as the conditions that trigger the Resurgent Support Payment still apply. The overall amount of support we are providing to businesses in this current lockdown is actually more than we provided the last time we had Alert Level 4 restrictions. For example, over a month in Alert Level 4 last year, an eligible business with 10 employees would have received about $23,000 in support, whereas this outbreak it will be about $35,000 for the same size firm. This is an illustration of the fact that we are listening to businesses as we move through this pandemic and modifying and adapting the support that we provide to them. As I said at the start, the New Zealand economy does continue to outperform its peers. Our businesses and our workers have proved to be incredibly resilient. The Covid-19 virus and all its variants challenge us and obstruct our way of life, but the government is going to keep supporting New Zealanders to get through this together.